Hello everybody, my name is TviTopics and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So over the last few days I've run into this kind of sheet that has every single Pokemon type as well as extra categories like starter, gimmick, legendary and favourite. And then it also has the generations 1 through 9 on this side as well as the favourites. And essentially it's just basically a Pokemon picker. You pick your favourite Pokemon per type per generation, as well as these extra little categories at the bottom, as you can see. I'll try and rush through this briefly, but essentially it's just going to be me picking normal types, picking fire types and so on of each generation, and I'll just be discussing each Pokemon, why I believe they're my favourites and why I value them a lot. But I think we should just get through this bottom section first, because then it'll make this top section a little bit easier. To kick things off, the favourite regional bird, I have all of these options down here. Now for me, I'd have to pick Starly, because Starly is the descendant of Staraptor, and Staraptor is probably one of my favourite regional bird final stages. I definitely like Staraptor. Over recent years, with things like Talonflame and Corviknight, I've definitely almost gone to pick those as my favourite, but as we go through this video, I'll probably put Talonflame and Corviknight down in their own categories. Favourite mammal is going to have to be the Lord Bidoof himself. Bidoof is just meme-worthy to oblivion at this point, and everyone who is everyone just loves Bidoof. It's so plump, it's so plushy, it's just adorable, and it's just such brilliant meme potential in your playthroughs, in your Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum playthroughs. Favourite original bug, I'd have to go for Blipbug. Blipbug is a bookworm. It has the glasses, it has a little bow tie, and it just is very knowledgeable, and when it evolves it turns into a psychic type, which is all about the brain, and it just makes a lot of sense why this fits into that category of bookworm quite nicely. Favourite pseudo legendary, this might change, I might go through this and end up going and adapting bits. I'm going to put Dragapult down for now. Dragapult is just a very good option for Ghost and Dragon typing, and it's very quick with a nice decent attack stat and special attack stat to run it either or. And the fact that it has its children shoot out of its head is quite funny. Favourite Pikachu clone would have to go for Pawmot. Pawmot has quickly become one of my favourite Gen 9 Pokemon of all time. It is definitely one of the best clones out there because it just has the fighting typing, it has the ability to revive your teammates, and having a nice double shock attack was just brilliant to do this additional damage to Pokemon and lose your electric typing. Favourite evolution, that's gonna have to be Jolteon. Jolteon has been my favourite since Generation 1. It had Pin Missile, which was a bug move, it had Bite, I believe, and it had Double Kick, which was fighting. So whereas Flareon and Vaporeon only had fire and water, Jolteon was just able to have other types that weren't electric. That and the fact it's really fast and hits quite hard, and the ability Quick Feet just makes it even faster. It's just a really good option if you're going for speed. Favourite fossil is Dracovish. It has a really nice ability, really nice movesets, and if you give this the right item like a Choice Band or Twist Scarf, you can just be one-shot in Pokemon left, right and centre. In the anime, it was really nice. It had the ability to help Ash out. It's really goofy looking in certain scenes. Favourite regional form, I'm going to give to Alolan Marowak. If Alolan Marowak was really good in the anime, I really appreciate the kind of lore behind how it turns into a ghost type to kind of represent the dead Marowak in the original series. And then Fire Ghost is just a very unique typing that very few Pokemon have, and paired together makes it very offensive and defensive. Favourite Gigantamax form has to go to Lapras. Lapras has automatically kind of become one of my favourites, or actually the favourite, purely because it gets G-Max Renaissance, which sets up a free Aurora Veil and does a lot of damage to your opponent. Depending on your EV spread, you can either knock them out, or you can make yourself really bulky to sit behind an Aurora Veil. Paired with the fact it gets Hydration as an ability, you can set up the Rain with Max Geyser and just heal yourself if they try to paralyze you. And overall, just G-Max Lapras has helped me out in a lot of tournaments. Favourite box art legendary. Little story now, we're going to go with Giratina. Giratina, for Pokemon Platinum, was kind of like the first official game, or Pokemon main game, that I completed all the way through. I'd played my Ruby, Sapphire and Emerald, and I'd kind of gone through those, but I'd never really completed them. I was too young and I didn't really get to the end, as I'm sure a lot of us have done. The story behind it is amazing, and when I finally got the game, I finally sat down and completed it all, basically, and yeah, near enough completed the Pokedex, and completed the gyms, I completed the Elite Four, I had a nice team, all set to level 100 at the end. Platinum holds very dear memories to me, so Giratina just brings back a lot of fond memories. Favourite mythical, this used to be Mew. Mew and Celebi were two of my favourite mythicals, and even Jirachi was there. But I'm going to have to give this one to Meltan, because ever since Pokemon Go and ever since that came out and it became this huge phenomenon, Meltan just became a really good favourite of mine, and I just love it to pieces. It's cute, it's adorable, its anime appearance really made the Sun and Moon series shine. And it's Steel typing, which if we actually go over to the favourite types, my favourite type is Steel. So Meltan being a steel type just really complemented it quite nicely. Favorite Ultra Beast? I don't really like Ultra Beasts. Ultra Beasts has never really been my thing. I do like Celesteela because it's flying steel, which when we get up to this section up here, you'll see that flying steel is one of my favorite type combinations. Basing it off the anime and basing it off the lore, because I'm going to try and be basing these off of lore, anime, and games. I think Naganador is the best option. Poison Dragon, which is quite nice. It resists the fairy and makes it neutral. Nice special attack stat, which makes it quite a threat to the fairy types that opponents might be using. And just this idea of a hive mind controlling all these Poipole is just really interesting. Favorite Paradox Pokemon? Again, similar to the Ultra Beast, I'm not a huge fan of the Paradox Pokemon. So if I had to choose, it'd probably be Iron Valiant. I did like the idea of Gallade and Gardevoir inspired appearance. I like the lore behind it, how scientists were trying to make the ultimate psychic type similar to Mewtwo, but they accidentally failed and took the fighting aspects of Gallade and the fairy aspects of Gardevoir, and they kind of made a fairy and fighting type by accident. It's got this staff that it uses in battle. It's really hard on the physical special side, taking inspiration from Gallade and Gardevoir again. And yeah, I just like the overall kind of aesthetic of this Pokemon. We've done Steel. Steel's my favourite typing. Steel just has a very good defensive prowess. Steel's just always been my go-to for tournaments. I always try to make sure I have at least one on a tournament. If I'm allowed, or if the restrictions allow me, I'll try to have 2 or 3. Favorite Pokeball? If you guys know me seriously, my favorite is a Pokeball. I do get the idea behind all the other balls, like you want to color code them to Pokemon, or you want to have certain appearances when they come out and get thrown into the battle. But I've always liked the old school Pokeball style. It's nice, it's reliable, it looks quite appealing, and they're just really cheap in the shops. Now, Spinder's unique because Spinder patterns go up to 16, and each little area that they have on their body, their spots kind of coordinate to like their ears or their eyes or their bellies and their hands. So it's all set to 8 at the minute. So yeah, you can see down here it's all set to 8, which means that this spot up here is the 8 section, this is the 8 section. My favourite number is actually 7. I don't know what that would look like on this Spinder. It's quite interesting to know that there's 16 unique forms for each little section. But because 7 is my favourite number, we're just going to set these all to 7. So I guess in hindsight, number 7 is my favourite. Spinder is a Pokemon. I've never really used it. I did like it in the Emerald game when you go up to the top of the map and there's that ashy area and all the Spinder are there. And I used it as a grind spot to get my starter to its final stage. I used it to grind out a lot of Pokemon to level 30 or 40 or whatever, just to get ready for the next 2 gyms, which are Fire and Normal. And having Spinder there gave that quite nice experience, and seeing all its different patterns was quite appealing to me. I don't really have a favourite Vivian form. When I was playing my Pokemon Y, I did have the Meadow form because that was the only one available in that game. I didn't really do any of the trades. But I do like the Pokeball pattern, purely because, again, Pokeball was my favourite Pokeball, and it was the only distribution that I got. I think it was one of the first distributions I ever had growing up. I was still quite young, I still kind of understand things. And I just remember Pokeball Vivian coming out, and I was like, ooh, that's cool, what do I have to do? And then there was a code, I put the code in, and then I got my free Vivian, and I was like, ooh, this is quite nice. And then finally we got Alcremie. I do like its G-Max form. If I didn't have to pick the G-Max form, because obviously that's kind of cheating, it has kind of all the forms in one, I'd probably have to go for the Mocha. Oh, it's got the sweets actually, yeah. So I used this specific Alcremie in a tournament we did in Generation 8. It carried me quite nicely. I think it was a double, so I had Dazzling Gleam on it, I had Decorate on it, so I was supporting my partner Pokemon. And when it came to it, I had G-Maxed it, and it just caused a lot of damage. So these are kind of my favourite things. They might change over the course of this video, so maybe if I put Staraptor up here, this will change. What the kind of rule I want to stick to is, let's go up here actually. The kind of rule I want to stick to, let's say Staraptor. So Staraptor is a normal type. This is my favourite. I don't also want to have Staraptor as my favourite flying type. I feel like, to you guys, I want to show you that I have loads of different favourites, and I talk about loads of different Pokemon. If I kept saying, oh, Staraptor, and then Starly's down here, and I say Staraptor again, it might get boring, especially if I put Staraptor here again. I want to kind of keep it fresh. So my one rule for this is going to kind of be one unique entry per slot, if that makes sense. So going into this, that's kind of like the main rule I'm going to be having. Each of these individual slots are going to have one individual Pokemon. They won't double up. They won't have any duplicates. The only duplicates that there will be is down here where it's favorite, where they'll kind of be the favorites of the entire selection, basically.